Hey, campers! It's your junior woodchuck counselor, Rob Hot Sauce Haynes, just imploring you one more time. Please, if you enjoy us in your ear holes each and every week, do us a favor and go on iTunes and write us a review, give us a 5-star rating or something like that, or just share, spread the good word to your friends, either by clicking the little share guy, or just telling somebody out here in Meat World. We'd appreciate it. It would do our little black hearts good. Muchas gracias.
Welcome to Letters from Camp Blood, a journey, a review,
A ramble through the horror and genre films of our wayward youth.
I'm Josh Lewis,
And I'm Rob Haynes. Adjust the tracking on your VCR.
because now the killing starts.
Hello again, everybody. This is dang old Rob Haynes, your junior woodchuck counselor. Alongside me, as always,
is a guy that's jacked up on coffee like a motherfucker.
Oh,
Josh
snap.
Lewis. Ugh.
Oh, snap.
I've had half a cup.
You were listening to a very caffeinated Letters from Camp Blood. It might go the other way because you're over caffeinated. I think I might be under caffeinated.
Do you want to split this coffee with me?
No, well, I thought about getting some more coffee, and I was like, I don't want to.
I can brew some.
I worry. I worry about your heart.
I'm a junkie. I can get some more. I mean, I know a guy.
I know.
Yeah, I know Tommy Folgers.
Wonder, like the Folgers guy has to have a name.
Yeah. Thomas.
Yeah.
I think Tommy Folgers.
Also,
is...
whatever happened to that racist fucking Colombian coffee guy?
Oh, Juan Valdez.
There we go,
and his
yeah.
trusty mule. What was the name of that
still-
coffee? Because it would be like every day he gets up and he walks up in the fucking Colombian mountains or something.
I think it might have just been for the idea of Colombian coffee.
Yeah. Maybe,
Like the egg board, but like Colombia, like the Colombian government has taken some of that Coke money and created this racist icon.
But that coffee, sweet as fuck.
Very good. Get you going. You know what else is sweet as fuck? Little ditty we put in our eye holes. The town that dreaded sundown.
Yeah, I like to think of it. It's more as like a instructional video in a school in the 1950s.
Yeah, it's got a real weird vibe.
It's a very weird vibe. It's definitely shot on a shoestring, which we're not. It's not that we're not accustomed to that.
No.
Seen
That's
that.
par for the course.
But even the guy, so it has a narrator. So the people that haven't watched this, it's about a town that dreaded sundown every night because a big guy that looked almost identical to Friday the 13th Part 2's depiction of Jason.
Yeah, which they had to have stolen it from this
Absolutely.
movie because this movie came out like a decade before.
Yeah, they absolutely stole it from this movie. And he just goes around and he waits till some 50s teens or whatever. They park their car to do some making out, maybe squeeze a booby or two there, here and there. And he walks up and he either shoots them like David Berkowitz or pulls them out of the car and ties them to a tree and uses a trombone to kill them,
Yes.
which is a very odd instrument of death.
Hey, interesting choice, but it's his choice. I'm not going to judge him as an artist.
No. And you know what? Sometimes whenever you got some tools laying around and you're feeling creative, you just got to use them.
You just got to let it go, man. Just let the rhythm take you.
Yeah.
Let the rhythm move you.
I will say if there was a top 5 of not necessarily the coolest in a weird way, just the oddest, very weirdest ways that people have been killed in movies, characters, that one is definitely in the top 1 or 2.
Yeah, Murder by Trombone. And this was very much like this movie is one of those, it's not like the most well-regarded movie, but it is one of the more influential movies.
Yeah. It's probably the first time you got to see that psycho killer. The guy that just wanders around. He doesn't talk. He doesn't do anything but kill. And you don't know how.
Silent, mask, like I said, has some kind of weird creative kills and what have you. And the beautiful thing about this is it's actually based on a real case. And we'll get into that shortly here in a bit, here in a little while. But like the trombone murder in the movie, like that was like the first like fucking wacky ass like Before this, like, if there were murders in, like, a horror movie, it was like a Norman Bates, I'm going to kill you in a shower, and the wacky part is I'm dressed as a woman, or stuff like that. This is the first time they're getting creative with the actual way they're doing it.
Yeah, because I never saw it coming. This is the first time I've watched this movie. I've known about it for a real long time. I've seen, like, it's got a great box cover.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
The poster's great. It was one of those ones that, like, I chased down for forever, because it was always spoken about in, like, hushed tones, and it was unavailable. It was out of print for forever, so I couldn't even get it, like, the little mom and pop stops where you get, like, I spit on your fucking grave and shit like that, like, that carries the really gnarly stuff. They never had it. So when I finally tracked it down in college on a VHS and I watched it, I was expecting, like, fucking a Serbian film. Like, I was
like
ready
Cannibal
to...
Holocaust. And
Yes.
shit, yeah.
I was ready to see some shit. And while the murder scenes are, I'm not going to say necessarily accurate, you do see, like, it's just, there's not a whole lot of fanfare about it. There's not a lot of flippity-dippity douche. It's just a big guy manhandling people.
Yeah, he just pulls up this girl that goes, "Please don't hurt me." Like, she said hurt in a southern accent that I can't even mimic.
Yeah,
and
just saying something.
Oh, and by the way, another thing about this movie, had to be filmed on location in a small Texas town.
Yeah.
Because everybody there had very realistic accents.
Oh, they were laying that draw on.
And then there was this one dude, a big old dude with a curly Q mustache, like a Pringles man.
Yeah.
And he was a cop. He had a whole, I'd say 2 or 3 lines of dialogue that made no fucking
Completely
sense.
like Boomhauer from King of the Hill unintelligible.
Dude, I'll tell you, if Boomhauer talked like that guy, he would not be popular. People would not find that endearing.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
it was not charming at all.
No, not a bit. But I can see why this movie inspired, but it's amazing to me that it was ever any kind of any kind of popularity.
Well, it like I said, it was one of the first ones to do that, like, sort of like cinema verite faux documentary style, because it does feel like it's a made-for-TV crime movie, but it was written and distributed in theaters. There's also like a Barney Fife-esque character played by the writer-director.
Which absolutely did not need to be in this film.
No. I think it was just to add. They had to bulk it up, and then they had to leaven it up. Like, we got to add some time, but we also, the time that we add's got to be, we got to lighten it up. We got to.
There's not enough tension to need that release of humor in this movie, because it's literally, it'll show just 2 people sitting in a car and going, "Hey, how was your day? Pretty good. Can I get a little sugar on me?" And then you just see a dude run up with a gun and either shoot him or just jerk him out of the fucking car and beat on him.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to, like, the sheriff's going, "I don't know what the hell happened."
And
I guess, that's every fucking scene.
Well, and that's because it's based on a real crime. It's based on the Phantom Killer from the 1940s. I think it was 1946 in Texarkana. It was right after World War I.
2.
Yeah, one of the W's.
The one where we had tanks.
Yeah, the good one. The one with the Nazis and such.
Yeah, that's the one. The one where they make video games.
Yeah, exactly. The fun one. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that was not fun.
I don't guess. I mean, there's hardly anybody alive to tell us.
So,
about
you know
it.
what? I don't. Okay, but here's the thing: is like, everybody talks about, like, the atrocities of war, and I don't PTSD, real fucking thing.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, if you talk to, like, dudes that came back from Korea, when they're not talking about how it was terrible that they had to murder children, they do talk rather fondly about hanging out with their buddies.
Yeah, they had a great time with their pals.
Yeah, it's like I said, I've got family members that, like, served in Korea and then in Vietnam, and if you talk to them about it, like, it was the best time of their life when they weren't killing people or getting shot at. Like, they were just hanging out with their bros.
It'd be like, you got free room and board, you get to shoot guns.
They feed you. You get over there, there's these women, and they're happy to see you.
Yeah, they're real happy to see you.
Yeah. Anywho,
and that's how we feel about war.
yeah, I'm not for it, but I ain't against it.
But it makes men very good friends.
Say that now, and then we're actually probably going to war
Yeah,
soon.
there's a possibility. But
That'll be fun.
according to the Book of Revelations, Rob, let's go ahead and start me a new segment. Lewis's Bible Corner.
Lewis's Bible Corner. There's just
gonna
like a
be-
picture of you petting a lamb.
Petting a Bible. According to the Great Book of Revelations, that's the one that terrifies everyone.
Yeah, the gnarly, the metal one.
Yeah, the final chapter. It says that there's going to be wars and rumors of wars before the final war. So I think this is just another one in the series of rumors of war.
Okay. Well, that'll be fun.
And that concludes Josh's Bible Corner.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's the old Patton Oswalt joke, but I mean, if I have to die, and I don't want to, but if I have to, I'd like to die during something bitching like the apocalypse.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I would love to hear, like, a trumpet sound and then a horse.
I think me and a great friend of the show, Dave Stone, one of the biggest fans of our show, Dave Stone, he had told us, like, when we were talking about going camping, and if a Bigfoot gets
he wants to be killed by Sasquatch, because at least for a brief flickering moment before he rips his jaw off, he'll know.
He'll know that there was a Sasquatch.
He's like, I was right.
Yeah, I always said that if a tiger gets loose and it kills me, that I'd probably go out with at least some sort of smile or grimace on my face.
Huge fucking boner.
Yeah, just because I'd never seen a tiger that close. It's like go to the zoo with no fences.
It's one of those things, like, you just got to accept that you're gonna die, and if you're gonna, man, have fun with it.
Yeah, and none of these people in this Town That Dreaded Sundown movie accepted it very well.
No.
There was a prom scene, so usually it leads to a little hanky panky to let everybody know exactly the psyche of a man's libido, if that's even a possibility that a libido has a psyche. Is that there's already been like a handful of murders, and there was curfews, people were afraid to go outside.
You question why they even had the prom.
Yeah, exactly. And then they get in a car, and everybody's like, "Go straight home. Do not park your car anywhere, because that's how he gets you. He waits till you're making out. He comes out, beats you to death."
Yeah.
And they get in the car, and he's like, "Kellyanne, I sure did like hanging out with you and dancing and drinking punch and stuff." She goes, "Yeah, it was nice." He's like, "Well, do you want to hang out a little bit longer? We can't go to my house because my dad's home." And then she's like, "Well, can't go to my house because same reason. We're teenagers."
Yeah. Teenagers have to take all their fucking on the road.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have to have a mobile fuck spot.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, we'll just go up here and park." And she went, "I don't know. There's a lot of killing going on." He goes, "Come on." And she was like, "All right."
His logic was really like, that was all the way over there.
Yeah, that's all the different streets. And then they get killed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then that's where the trombone murder happens.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, to paraphrase one of the guys I started doing comedy with many a year ago, and God bless you if you're still alive, Dave Young, but a stiff dick's got a memory of a goldfish. Like,
Oh yeah, dude.
it doesn't care.
I heard an old man tell me one time, whenever he was talking about like his favorite women to fuck were the ugliest. And we were like, "Why do you do that if you're not attracted to him?" He goes, "Listen here, boys. A hard dick knows no conscience." And it was the most gross, funny thing I'd ever heard. Yeah.
Okay, a side story, but very attached to what you just said.
By the way, female listeners, how do you do it? How do you listen to us?
Yeah, we actually just discovered that we had like some. Not only do we have like female listeners, we have like young, impressionable female listeners. Yeah. You have your whole lives ahead of you, ladies.
We're not telling you not to listen and not be our friends, but this is like our safe space to be filthy, just animals. And then you listen to it and go, "Well, that's pretty good."
Yeah.
And I don't get it, but
we just
I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. We just want to understand.
Yeah,
It's like because I'm about to tell you a story like this. When I was in high school, I worked at a food city.
Please spike in some music for this.
It's like those those old Jack Handy sketches from.
I got some on my phone, but I just don't want to ruin the story.
No worries. Okay, so I worked at a food city grocery store for pretty much the entire time I was in high school. And when I turned 18 in my senior year, the very first day, I had to get up at 5 a.m. on my birthday to go to work. Jesus because it was my first day working in the meat department. And if you've ever
Sounds like I feel like I'm your nephew. To be like, "That's how good you have it, kid."
Yeah, I had to get up at 5 a.m. and I lost part of my thumb. No, but I had to get up and like go fucking. I spent the better part of my senior year working every weekend, 5 a.m. till fucking 2 o'clock in the afternoon, cutting meat. Like a fucking proper man. Like,
yeah,
that's like a skilled trade.
I feel like you went in there without a mustache and you fucking sawed into a ham bone and all of a sudden pubes just grew out of your upper lip.
It's definitely when I started drinking coffee and drinking it black.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so like, obviously that is a trade. Like, you have to be taught how to do that.
Yeah.
And the guy that was supposed to teach me, and did teach me, I guess, is this awesome dude named Earl, who apparently only recently retired. I found out from his daughter, because I dated his daughter for a while too. And Earl was a beautiful, beautifully sketchy man. To the point, one day we were talking about some woman that frequented the store and how we all thought, like, everybody in the meat department thought she was attractive. And then I was so bold as to, I was helping her with something, and I asked her something about her husband. Found out that she was married, and I took that information back into the meat room.
The meat room?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Is that just where like meat hangs? Is that like a cooler?
Yeah, that's right. Like you go to the grocery store and you got the case, like where all the meat is. Sometimes it's open air, sometimes it's not. But like back behind there is like a room where there's just like, the sides of beef, and then the things like where that you make the hamburger grounds of. Which, by the way, ground hamburger, like when they grind it in the store, it's not like they're just shoving a cow into a wood chipper. It's like we get these like large tubes of like 25 to 50 pounds of chuck or ground beef or whatever, and like in those tubes are just hunks of meat. Like it's calling it ground beef, it's not quite ground enough.
Yeah.
So when they say they grind it in the store, they're still shipping shit in from God only knows where.
Oh boy.
But anyway, so Earl finds out that this gal is married, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, she's got a wife, there ain't nothing you can do about it." And he's like, "Boy, let me tell you something right now, rings don't plug holes."
Earl,
I salute you.
Earl and a guy named Chisel. I think that's just became our two mascots, our two spirit animals.
Earl
here.
and Chisel.
Earl and Chisel Chin.
We also had another guy that was like the head of the meat department that got fired because they found out he was regrinding meat.
Regrinding meat?
Like meat that was about to go bad, he'd just throw that into the ground beef.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't trust anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Go get fucking hunt your own meat.
Yeah, if you're going to go to the meat department at any grocery store, maybe minus Whole Foods or some place like that has, reputable employees. If you're going to go to your neighborhood market and you see a steak or a pork chop or even a piece of chicken, any type of animal, and it says it's been marinated in something dark like wine, that means that's rotten meat.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, that was pretty much the only thing I could do the first day because I didn't know how to do anything was to take the stuff that was about to go bad. And legally, the FDA or USDA, the people that are in charge of meat, you are allowed to stuff that is about to go bad like that if you put enough seasoning and salt and shit on it. Like there is a number that you are supposed to use. If you rub all that stuff down, you can add 2 days.
I know that I also worked at a grocery store as a young man, and we would just steal. So so late one night, I was a night stockman, so I just stole a steak, and we took it over to, they had this little deli part where they would have like
cook
sandwich.
it up.
Yeah, put it on the grill, cooked it up, and I'm not saying my diarrhea was explosive, but I'm saying that I was in a lot of pain for 2 to 3 days, and I also had to use the restroom at the Winn-Dixie way more than I ever wanted to.
Well, man, okay, and this is again friend of the show, Dave Stone.
Dave Stone.
Yeah, we have a similar, I don't want to say lifestyle. In my glamorous day job, now I'm driving around a lot, and he up until recently lived in a van. So we both spend a lot of time in our vehicles, and we both discovered mutually, but we were confirmed it to each other, and that made me very happy. I feel like we bonded this day. When he's like, man, the best place to go to the bathroom if you're just out and about during the day is a grocery store.
Absolutely.
Because there's no one in them, ever. Because most people don't think, like, you go to a restaurant or something like that, there's the bathroom, the shitter is very prominently labeled and out there. At the grocery store, they don't want you shitting.
No. They don't, because people could go in there under the guise of, I just had a burgundy wine marinated steak, and I'm going to go have a bout of diarrhea.
Yes, exactly.
And instead, just go in there and be like, I'm just going to turn this into a Jane's Addiction video and just steal a bunch of shit.
Exactly. This is where I'm going to start taking hams and putting them under my man teats. But there's no one ever in them. They are not always the cleanest.
No.
But they are consistently at 75%. They are a C average student every fucking time.
It's not a complete regret. It's something you're willing to take.
It's like if you go to a gas station or like a McDonald's or something like that, it probably gets cleaned more often, but that's because it needs to be cleaned more often.
Yeah.
Like you go in there and sometimes it's pristine, you could eat off the toilet seat. And then there are other times it's like, somebody had like...
Yeah, somebody's been in here four-wheeling.
Yeah. Somebody in here failed miserably at eating a chocolate cake.
Yeah. So, is there an old school pie fight in here or something? Because
how did it get on the ceiling tiles?
Why is it still moving and coming after me?
Oh. But yeah, like the grocery store bathrooms, they're always, like I said, 75% clean, and that's all you need. That's all you're looking for.
Yeah, it's any port in a storm. I think it's the old cliche.
Yes.
Because I've fortunately found that out, too, just from doing a little bit of road work, taking a 6-hour journey to go do a show, and then my body just goes, hey, listen.
Hey.
Bad stuff's happening.
We're hitting the eject button now.
And I take the first exit, whether it says there's a restroom there or not, and I look over and I find a Kroger, and I go, oh, there's where we're going.
And usually the bathroom's right by the meat room.
It's really, I think it is.
It traditionally is. That's where all the water hookups are.
Yeah, the Meatman's Lounge.
Sorry. The guy that was like, we caught regrinding meat. His name was Taz.
Ooh.
I don't know what his real name was, but even on his name tag, it said Taz. And he was named Taz because he had like a 10, 20, 30-year-old real shitty Tasmanian devil tattoo right on his neck.
Oh, on his neck.
All right, on the neck.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to just cover up that little lie of yours.
No, I mean, if you're into Taz, and who wasn't? Who wasn't in the 90s? Frankly, that was like
there was a huge insurgence of Looney Tunes being super duper cool to wear on your clothes and your body.
Yes, but like the Looney Tunes weren't on television at the time.
No. I mean, they came on, I think, TBS after school, whatever time that would be.
And like at 1 a.m. Like it was like there was not a lot of saturation for Bugs Bunny.
No,
this was a pre-Space Jam era.
Yeah, pre-Space Jam era, and they would just take Looney Tunes characters and make them look like
gangsta,
gangster rappers,
but like not like what old white people thought gangster rappers looked like and baggy pants, hat.
And they would also take them and kind of make them look like indicative of the rock and roll that was going on at the time, like some of the grunge and punk stuff. So I had a Bugs Bunny shirt where he was dressed like Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and there was even something in me that went, "This is lame as shit," but the shirt fit so well. Have you ever had one of those shirts that you put on and you're just like, I feel like at least $50 in this shirt.
Well, it was during that era that this is when I realized me and my dad, and I love my dad with all of my heart. He's my hero, but him and I do not I care not a lot about fashion, but I try. And this is when I realized,
look. You definitely have a
look. I have an aesthetic that I try to hit, but it's a very business casual, and it's not a difficult look to achieve. And when I realized, my dad, who also has kind of a look, but at the same time, I think that look just happened upon him because, we were buying school clothes, getting ready to be, this is probably my 6th grade, to go buy school clothes the weekend before school started. And he was just like, he took me, my mom took my sister, and, we're in a Kmart, I think. Not even a Target. We didn't have a Target yet. And he just picks up this shirt, and it's got fucking the Tasmanian devil wearing golf shit.
Oh, I've seen this.
Giant, and that's all. It's just him in golf shit. And he's like, "Here, this fits. Take it. We're getting it." And I was like, "But I don't like golf." He's like, "I don't like golf. You don't like golf."
But we love everybody. That Taz.
Yeah. And he just looked me dead in the eye, and he's like, "Why do you care?"
Really?
He legitimately asked me. He's like, "Why do you care?"
Why do you care about your appearance?
And I was like, whew. Again, all right. Universe hit you hard, didn't it, bad?
Yeah, what do you care about? That's the best in the world. I don't like any of this, and I don't think I'll look good in it. Why do you fucking care?
Well, and that's the thing. Is and he also, to this day, has boxes and boxes of hats. Brand new, pristine fucking hats that I need to go through because some of them are trucker hats, and I bet they'd look real fucking vintage and awesome.
Yeah.
But they are all hats that he has been given by various businesses. Because he used to work. He worked for this paper company for forever, and he drove a truck on the route. So pretty much whenever he would drop a load off at whatever business, if that business had recently acquired pens or hats or any kind of promo material, he would take as many as he could get and never throw them away. Honest God, he had like fucking 12 of this one hat that was from a gas company, a natural gas company that he didn't work for and had no interest in.
Just in case you need a good hat.
Yeah, that was the he's like, well, one of my old hats. And then he had a series of hats that he would wear all the time, and he still has his favorite hats, which are usually some kind of sports UT hat.
Yeah,
but he's like, man, if any of those get messed up, got more in closet. Like there'd be times like I would lament about I lost one of my favorite Red Sox hats, and he's like, man, I got a whole box of hats. You want some hats? Get you a hat. And I'm like, it's not that I lost a hat. That is that I'll never find another.
I lost a specific hat.
It's I wanted this specific hat. There's also the same guy again. God love him. Twice now for Christmas he has asked for a new coffee maker. Not because the coffee maker he has does not work, or the coffee maker that he has is not satisfying to him anymore. He literally took them both and sat them in the closet and didn't open them for years. And I asked him, I was like, why did you ask for this coffee maker if you're just going to let it sit in the thing? When he retired and they moved, we found one of them. He's only opened one of them. And he's like, well, in case the other one breaks.
You know what?
What?
You might think that's crazy of your old man, but I see the flawless logic.
No, the logic is 100% there. Yeah. I'm with him. I get that. You keep a backup of something. But here's the thing. A coffee maker is neither expensive nor rare.
Yeah, that is true.
Like that's what I was like, when your coffee maker breaks, go buy another coffee maker.
Yeah, when WW3 happens, it's not like it'd be like, okay, we're rationing.
Exactly.
Mostly coffee makers, mostly kitchen appliances. So
when I was helping them pack up when they moved, there was so much of that shit that was just like redundant, like in case this breaks. Like they had like probably half a truckload of empty Sterilite storage bins. So they're just warehousing air. Warehousing air.
Can I say that because we do a horror movie podcast where we rarely talk about the movie anymore? Now I know why nobody wants us on their other podcasts. It's because we're going to take them over and be like, listen, I knew this guy one time that loved yogurt. He loved yogurt like no other.
Yeah. It's just going to be like, here's a list of the reasons. Here's how I've been wronged, and here's how I plan on remedying the situation.
Yeah, then we'll play Fuck, Marry, Machete, and then it's like,
and then we're done.
So if you're a first time listener, just letting you know, that's exactly what's going to happen.
This is not a weird episode. This is not a wacky episode.
No. If you want to hear just complete rundowns of the movies that we've watched, you just go back to I think the first three. And then after that, it really derailed, and we were just getting stuff off our chests. Yeah.
Therapy session. But no, it feels like this seems like something the people in the town of Texarkana would do.
Absolutely.
They would probably warehouse coffee makers. Also, by them to end the story, how often does your fucking coffee maker break?
That is true.
They had the one fucking coffee maker from like my birth or beyond till like when I was 15.
You know, you should really introduce your old man to this lovely invention that I used to have until I kept breaking them. Yeah. Called a French press.
Those are nice.
Yeah,
those are very nice. And it makes a nice cup of coffee.
A really nice cup of coffee.
Welcome to Coffee Talk.
Letters from Coffee Blood. That might have been a reach. That's a bit of a reach.
It's okay. We'll allow it.
All right, thank you.
But so it's based on like the Phantom Killer case, which he killed.
Oh yeah, back to the movie.
Yeah, he killed 8 people in Texarkana, which is a little town on like the Texas-Arkansas border, over the span of like 6 months right after World War II, 1946. And this movie, I feel like they inserted the fucking all of the true crime, like police procedural elements to it, and the Barney Fife-esque fuckery.
Oh boy.
Because at the end of the day, not a whole hell of a lot happens in the movie. And because they never caught the guy, they can't even flesh out like why he was doing the things that he did.
Yeah.
Just a dude with a bag on his head.
Yeah, he never left a phone call. He didn't leave a note,
which is rare for like serial killers, especially I think at the time. Like if you're a true crime nerd, not unlike myself, ladies, howdy. It's pretty rare that people become like a full blown serial killer without looking for some kind of attention or validation. That's why the Golden State Killer that Patton Oswalt's deceased wife just wrote a book about. He was kind of rare because he was also not like he operated for forever because he wasn't trying to be caught. Most of them, they don't want to get caught, but they also want the fame, like they want the recognition for it. And this guy literally, like he kept changing his MO. He just kept, he just wanted to murder folk. Yeah. And the only thing that like that kind of made it work was it was about every 3 weeks or so.
Yeah. It was very weird. And I think that this movie, I haven't watched the remake.
Remakes, it's good. It's strange. It's real meta.
Yeah.
And it was intended to be like it takes place in modern day. It takes place in 2014, but it takes place in Texarkana, but it takes place in a world where the first movie had already happened. Like it was a movie and it was out.
Oh, it was just a movie. It wasn't a real story.
Well, I mean, it was a real story. It's still.
Well, I just mean in this world, in the sequel or in the remake.
It is Texarkana. It is. The Phantom murders, the actual Phantom murders happened, and then the movie also happened. And in Texarkana, to this day, every year, I don't know, I can't remember if it was in the cemetery. I think it was in the cemetery. But every year they have a screening of the movie, and it's a big tourist event.
Jeez.
Yeah. Which is kind of fucked up, because like there are families that lost people that still live there.
I was like, I'm not the first one to cry. That's insensitive, but that's fucking insensitive. Jesus Christ. Be like, yeah, my granddaddy was killed that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like there's Hollywood Forever does screenings on the side of a mausoleum. This very famous place where you put dead folks, cemetery.
Oh yeah, that's the place.
That one of them. They have like movie screenings, and they show a lot of horror movies, and they'll show like Night of the Living Dead, which I think is funny.
At least that's not as insensitive.
Yeah,
I might give some people a little bit too much hope that their loved ones are going to get back up and want to,
they're just looking over at the grave like, come on,
Granny, get up.
But like those are A, movies. B, it's in Hollywood,
where nobody has a soul.
Nobody has a soul. Nothing's real. I get it. But like you're having them like in the town where the person was actually murdered.
That's like if we show, what was that one 9/11 movie where they derailed the plane crash? They stopped it from getting to wherever.
United 93.
Yeah. So, United 93. It's like if they showed that next to the Freedom Towers every year.
God.
Just be like, come on,
oh,
guys.
motherfucker. All right, here. They show movies on planes. Do you think they put United 93 like was an option, like when you get on Delta?
It'd just be like, I haven't watched this one yet. And then you just automatically turn into a racist.
Yeah, you just start looking around like, which one?
All right, who's browner than me?
Racism. And there's a little racism in this movie.
Just a touch.
So there's the time.
Yeah.
They didn't instantly want to, like the big red herring in the movie is there's a guy who robs a black man, like he holds him by gunpoint, tells him he's going to give him some money if he'll take him to a gas station.
Yeah, give him $1.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an older time, folks.
Yeah.
$1 went real far.
Big fucking deal. But like he said he was going to give this guy $1 to take him somewhere, plus pay for the gas to take him to his car. And the guy's like, well, I went like 10 miles and I turned around and asked him and he had a gun. And then he's like, I could have killed 10 people. But like he said, he swindled this guy out of a ride.
Yeah, basically.
That's about it. And then they find him.
They find him. It leads to a huge car chase.
Yeah, huge car chase. That has nothing to do with the actual murders going on. I think, honestly, they just put that in there so that they could have a car chase.
Yeah.
So that something happens in the movie.
Yeah, because this is I think almost the last 3 that we've watched, there's not been a whole lot of anything.
Not a lot goes on. This would be a slow episode of Law & Order.
Absolutely. This would be a 3-part episode of Law & Order.
I don't even think it'd be 3 parts. I don't think it would fill out one. This would be the B story. This would be the one they have fucking Richard Belzer had taken care of.
Yeah, I guess so. Jeez. Yeah, I'm just trying to find. I mean, it's not that this is a bad film.
No, it's good. And again, it is very influential. Whether the guy, I forget his name, Pierce was his last name. The guy that wrote and directed it, he also did the Bonky Creek, which is like essentially this movie but with Bigfoot instead of a murderer.
Hopefully it's just as exciting too.
It is just as exciting, but it has like that faux documentary style to it and the narrator and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which was something that got picked up by other movies. It obviously influenced the Friday the 13th. I think it had it, whether John Carpenter will admit to it, he watched this movie and he's like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like just some of the way the shots are set up and doing the night shooting and all that type stuff, which was again kind of rare. And the visceral, like the realness of the actual attacks, trombone murder aside, it reminds me of like this is like the old punk band that nobody listens to anymore, but Green Day used to listen to the shit out of.
Absolutely.
Like if Scream is Green Day, this is the Stiff Little Fingers.
Yeah. If can I make it more grunge,
please?
If the town that's dreaded Sundown, OG, is the Meat Puppets, and everything after is Nirvana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And the remake movie, which is how I'm glad that the remake got made and that it's okay. It's shot very pretty. Like it's shot much nicer than this, and it's like got kind of like this like pastel-y color, like the color patterns and everything's out of whack. But it's made this movie available. Because like the remake came out, and before they put the remake out, again, this was out of print for fucking ever. The version we just watched was one that I bought a bootleg of at a convention 5 years ago.
It was a blank DVD.
Yeah, it was. The slipcase is like clearly made on a dot matrix printer.
Oh yeah.
And then the disc itself has no label on it, like not even with a Sharpie, nothing. And it's like VHS quality, which I think is how you should watch it.
You could have told me that you were walking through a parking lot and somebody went, "Hey man, you like scary movies?" And you go, "Well, yeah, mister, I sure do." And he just opens the trunk of his car. Go ahead, take your look.
Man,
have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
You get some good movies. And
yeah.
You can also get some movies that are filmed in the theater, and you could hear people coughing and talking and people getting up to go across the street.
I was, again, I've led a life. I used to be the manager of a titty bar.
Oh, I've heard about this.
I've made reference to before, but one of the things that used to come around was like just a fucking bootleg guy. And he would come in and he had like the old fucking 1990s CD case, like the zipper, like the Trapper Keeper, but it had DVDs that he'd burned in them. And he would always have like whatever the hot new release movie was, like you said, filmed on a cam, sounds like shit, but it's like, I can give this guy $3 or I can take a full day and go watch it 14. And when you run a titty bar, you do not keep banker's hours. It was an event to go see like a new release movie because of that.
Yeah.
So I would always you come in all the time and he was like, yeah, fucking $3 each, or like, I think it was like 10 for 15 or something like that.
Wowzers.
Yeah. Because he's not paying for anything.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like he was just guarantee he was just downloading them off Kazaa or whatever it was and then burning them. Except one night when the remake of Last House on the Left came out.
Oh, yeah.
He fucked up and downloaded the original and burned it to a disc, and he sold it to somebody, and they complained about it, so he gave him another movie or whatever. He's like, man, I got like 4 copies of the original thing. And like, if it was a movie that was on DVD, it would be DVD quality. You just download that version of it. So he's like, I'll just give these to you. So I was like, okay, thanks. Because like, he knew I was into weird, like older horror movies and stuff like that. And I was like, man, you can just have them. So I've got like 4 bootleg copies of the original Last House on the Left. Probably still to this day if I go through my fucking garbage files. Like I've got like a junk drawer that's just got a lot of bootlegs left over from this guy. You know, I got G.I. Joe, the first one.
Oh boy,
in a fucking cam.
Oh, I imagine that would make it at least somewhat more exciting.
You'd think like there were some of those like any of the horror movies that I was like, well, it would add something like
the tension there, like the nervous tension in the air whenever you go see a live horror movie.
Well, and like the Machete DVD and the Planet Terror DVD, some of the Robert Rodriguez DVDs, he'll record like instead of a director's track, he'll record an audience track. Like he'll screen the movie with an audience, record the audience audio.
Oh, that's
neat.
neat.
Yeah, and it kind of adds a little something to it. You'd think that would happen in a fucking bootleg situation, but it's not, because A, the fucking autofocus is always constantly going, and then you'll literally hear fucking people having a conversation, and you don't want to have that conversation. Man, this fucking popcorn is $9. Better eat that shit.
Yeah, every last motherfucking kernel.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm like,
That's
man,
the reason why we don't go out no more, Helen.
Yeah, and then sometimes like they will download. What happens is with a lot of these bootlegs is they will film them in like Russia or Croatia, like some country that doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So it'll be like hard-coded Cyrillic subtitles, but then they'll record them there, but then to get nice, crisp, clean audio, they'll send somebody into an American showing with their iPhone and just put it like in their pocket and record the audio.
Yep.
So then you hear half their fucking pocket noise, and again, it's garbage.
Yeah, I've seen a few like that. I think I watched... What was it? Suicide Squad that I bought off a guy for $5 in a parking lot, which everybody told me I wasted that money. And then I watched it and I went, oh, I did waste that money.
Yeah.
That is not a good movie. And there is no redeeming qualities.
There's nothing redeeming about that. There are some movies that like now I'll just get like, I'm going to wait till they're on streaming or cable, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the Redbox more than anything has done away with the bootleg guy. Sadly, you can't get a trunk DVD anymore.
Yeah, I mean, where's a guy go to get a bad copy of a movie now?
Shit if I know. Conventions. Well, I don't even say conventions. Like the local horror convention I've been going to for years used to have so many vendors with tables full of shit. And I don't know if it's half of it's the internet and other stuff being readily available and what have you. But now it's like none of them have DVDs. Like their tables all fucking action figures and other horse shit, but it's like the DVDs are just gone.
Yeah, the internet has ruined everything except for you listening to this fine podcast this weary day.
I think our distribution model should be to record it onto a cassette tape and then leave that in a hollow tree.
That's a good idea. And then we just have to, well, I was going to say, then we have to get on the internet and tell everybody how to get to that hollow tree. But once again, the internet sneaks up.
Did you ever see a movie, it was a Harmony Korine movie called Trash Humpers?
Trash Humpers.
Trash Humpers.
No.
Trash Humpers was I am not a Harmony Korine fan. I don't like weird, like, he does a lot of, like...
Kids was good.
Kids was fine. Spring Breakers was fine. But some of his other, like, more celebrated stuff is, like, it's strange and kind of fucked up.
Like Gummo and all that
stuff. And it's for the same reason I don't like your fucking Lady Gagas of the world. Anybody who just does something fucked up and then calls it art and dares you to fucking understand it.
Yeah.
No, like there's I get the idea of like something being artistic and what have you, but just like doing something that's like fucking challenging or difficult or what have you, and then it's art, you just don't get it. Like I think you just made something bad and you want to sound or seem better than you are. So he made this movie called Trash Humpers.
Trash Humpers.
Trash Humpers. Made it here in Nashville. It's got Chris Crofton in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is he the trash?
No, but it's about these one of the old people. It's about these elderly people, like octogenarians, and he put these people in makeup and stuff like that. Like their biggest thing is they go around and they hump piles of garbage.
Like they pull their genitalia out.
No, it's dry humping.
Oh,
it's a dry hump.
So middle school stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
well, I mean, you can't really fuck a pile of garbage because
I have no idea. I haven't seen the film.
No. So I mean, garbage is like it's a pile. It's very loose. There's no real. You can't get in there. You can't get in there.
I guess if you're.
if I'm trying, like if a bomb was gonna go off or something. I don't know how terrorists work.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it is they find a situation like, hey, I have to pump this, or I have to hump this pile of garbage, or blow up a building.
Yeah. And you fuck that pile of garbage. It's like that episode of Black Mirror where the Prime Minister's got to fuck that pig.
Gotta fuck that pig. Boy, howdy.
But
Spoiler alert, he fucked that pig.
He fucked the shit out of that pig.
This pig. He cried. Oh, it was so bothersome. It's stuck in my psyche forever.
Yeah. Turned me off the show for a minute.
You know what? I loved it. I watched every episode after that.
Well, no, I did too, but it took me like a good 6 months before I'd go back to it.
Wow, I figured that would be right in your wheelhouse.
Pig fucking?
No, not just pig fucking, just weird visceral craziness.
No, yeah, weird visceral craziness, but just the way they treated the pig fucking episode was so real.
By the way, that's the first, for you guys that haven't watched. Yeah, if you haven't watched Black Mirror and you're listening to us, I don't even understand. I still yet to understand you people.
If you have gotten to this and you have not gotten to Black Mirror, you're doing shit wrong. Like this show should be like the last piece of information you digest.
Yeah.
Like you should read the entirety of the internet.
Yeah. And also, I feel like this is a bonus episode for some reason. I feel like this is one of those episodes that you get whenever they just go, hey, listen, so-and-so was sick and out of town, so we're just going to talk around some stuff.
Well, we're kind of there, yeah.
We're definitely there.
Yeah. Once again, nothing happens in a town that dreads sundown.
If you can think, okay, if you're interested in watching this movie, I'm
pretty sure it's on YouTube at this point.
Yeah,
That's another thing. Is like that ruined the fucking bootleg guys. I was like, most of the movies that you would bootleg, just put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Honestly, this movie, like Rob was saying, not a whole lot of shit happens.
Yeah.
Next to nothing. And there is, the biggest exciting part is something we already, would you consider the trombone killing exciting?
That was like the most interesting, because it is like
it's interesting. I don't think it's exciting. Most slashers have excitement. This is considered a slasher, I believe.
This is one of the beginnings of the slasher movie. It predates Halloween.
Yeah, by 2 or 3 years.
2 years, 1976.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, 1976. This little ditty was released.
Oh, boy. What better way to bring in the
joy to the world.
But I guess the most exciting part is that there's a bumbling Barney Fife-esque deputy that has to drive around this star detective / Texas Ranger and the other best cop on the force.
Yeah, the best local cop.
Yeah. And he's not a very good driver. Pretty wacky, I'll tell you. And his name is Sparkplug or Sparky or something like that.
Sparkplug.
Sparkplug. And whenever they're having the car chase of a red herring that they think might be the murderer, the Phantom Killer, he doesn't know how to hit the brakes, so he flies off the bank and goes into a very shallow pond.
Yeah, like a man-made pond.
Yeah, and nobody even goes, Jesus Christ, are you okay? And there's no seatbelts back then or anything, and nobody's hurt. And that's about it. That's about it.
That's the big action piece.
And other than that, I mean, there's nothing. You just keep on seeing a guy that's around, and you see his boots match the same as the psycho killer.
Yeah, which they're kind of illuminating. Oh, this is the killer, obviously. And that's kind of the scary part of it is even though this movie took place in 1946, it was released in 1976, so 30 years later. They marketed the movie on the poster and all the radio and TV spots were like, and the killer still walks the streets of Texarkana today.
Yeah.
And they just leaved out with a walker.
Yeah.
Because because if he was 30 when he was murdering these, it means he's 60 now.
Yeah, because in one part of the film, they bring in, before I even knew that there was any kind of profiler, so they bring in like an FBI-style profiler.
I've got my questions about that. It's not, he's the psychologist from the local prison.
Okay,
is how they get there. Okay. But like he made a criminal profile of a serial killer, which I just got done watching Mindhunter on Netflix, which is great, which is about the FBI criminal profiling department getting started.
Yeah, how they compiled the
data. Like the 70s and shit. Like, yeah. So like that shouldn't have been there.
No, absolutely shouldn't have been there.
That would have been cutting edge like fucking crime tech in 1976.
Oh yeah, and this
not
is
something like a Southern drawl, Colonel Sanders-esque fucking doctor should know.
Yeah, a sleepy Texas town just happens to have a guy that does some psychiatry at just a local jail or prison.
Yeah.
Just comes in and nails him to a T, says he's anywhere between like something like 32 and 40. He takes pleasure in his work. He's sexual about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why didn't he rape any of them? And he's like, he doesn't get off like that. He likes to bite and all this stuff. And that's, okay, I'll take it back. That's the most exciting part of all that is that the very first serial killer profiler was in Texarkana.
Yeah, it was put together over some sweet tea.
Yeah. And the only thing he did was read the paper, and then they asked him a question, and he
well, that's the thing is like they did.
This dude.
One of the newspaper reporters suggested they talk to him, and then fucking Buford T. Justice or whatever the hell his name was, kind of laughs it off. I was like, no, I don't think we're gonna listen to him.
Yeah.
And then 2 scenes later, he's having dinner with the guy, but
yeah,
it's like fuck.
Yeah, but this movie moves extremely slow, even
it's
for a
plodding.
Yeah. I mean, and most 70s movies, and some of my favorite 70s movies,
they move they're a little slow.
Oh yeah, and some of them are a chore to get through. I mean, they're when you get to the other side, you're like, oh, okay, that was a good movie. I'm glad that I watched Once Upon a Time in the West, but it took me fucking a whole day.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. Like, I mean, there's a reason. I don't know how we're just losing our attention span or whatever, but back in the 70s and into the early 80s, your average action movie, your Dirty Harry and whatever, it was about 2 hours. And now, if it makes it like past 80 minutes, we consider it an epic tome.
Oh, yeah. I went and saw, I think the perfect runtime for any horror movie should be an hour and a half.
87 minutes, exactly.
87 minutes is fantastic. And I recently, and I know we do older school stuff, but guess what? We're breaking the mold, kids, like we always have. And I went and saw A Quiet Place recently, and if you haven't gone to see that by the time, if it's still in the theaters, great. If not, rent it. However you're going to put this shit in your face, put it in there.
Directly download it into your brain.
Exactly. Whatever you plug in your what's it?
Existence.
Yeah, whatever the shit that movie
whatever that shit Jennifer Jason Leigh got negative.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, however you're going to do this, watch that movie because it's the perfect runtime. and it gives you just enough scare, just enough drama, the end.
Yeah.
Roll credits. And I think whoever did that was obviously an appreciator of horror and appreciator of just a pacing of a film.
Yeah.
And it just worked out perfectly. This movie didn't do any of that.
No.
It, like I said at the beginning, it felt like an old high school movie that you would have to watch in health class. Like,
Yeah.
These are the dangers of kissing a girl.
This is what happens when you finger bang on Lover's Lane.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And it even has the voiceover, the narration guy that sounds
Who sounds
so,
like it should be like the guy from Red Concrete.
Absolutely, yeah. He is very boring. And then the acting will come in, and then they obviously used local. They may have filmed this on location in Texarkana.
I think they
for all
kind of
I know.
had to have.
Yeah, and they used people that were local there because there was no acting chops. Let's talk about, for instance, there's a scene where a couple gets in a car and it's raining outside. And like Rob has mentioned, this story takes place directly after World War II. So the guy gets in there and he goes, man, I don't like all this rain. It reminds me of Japan. It just rained all the time there. Mm-hmm. And by the way, me just saying that, way better acting than he did.
You put a little oomph into it.
Yeah, I guess I tried. It's the coffee talking. and that's and they are supposed to have an exchange between him and his girlfriend at the time. And it is so fucking sterile. Yeah. It's like it honestly felt like somebody had a piece of notebook paper off camera just holding it up like, read this, because she was like, I thought you liked all them pretty Japanese girls.
And like that scene like in the car between those two, like that.
And by the way, we didn't make it to Japan until after the war, after we dropped a bomb on it. So
Did we? I don't know.
So the timeline doesn't. No, we never invaded Japan. That's the reason why we dropped bombs over there.
Fair
Sorry,
enough.
everybody.
No worries.
Sorry.
Well,
Actually,
okay. I
want to apologize to the Japanese for what we did.
This is probably the same mistake Charles Pierce made when he made this movie. I was thinking about MASH. And when they that's where they would go when they'd get a break would be Tokyo. And then I was like, oh, that was Korea. That was way after.
Yeah, that was at least 10 years after.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
They met Klinger over there. It was good. But and this movie, like Charles Pierce, the guy that made this movie, you got to start doing like set decorating and stuff like that. And he never stopped doing that, by the way. He always, like, if you look at his filmography, is like he'll direct a movie and then he'll take a couple of gigs. But like he was a set director on some of the Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry movies, and like the old exploitation movie Coffee and stuff like that.
Really?
And then then he'll direct something. And then he'll go back to his real job. It's like he's an open mic filmmaker. It's like, I've got my real job, but then I also make these movies.
Yeah, but this is my passion.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, God bless him.
Yeah, and
again, that brings it back to this. This is the swing for the fences and fail, and I will love you all day long. But if you just purposely make something shitty, you can go get fucked.
Yeah. We've said this a million times if you're a first-time listener. You know, if you just want to watch a horror movie that makes fun of horror movies, it better be a good goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather watch somebody just go, hey, I got this kindred heart, and I need to let everybody see it. And then we see it, and it's hilarious. And we laugh at it, but we still appreciate that guy for fucking letting it out, man. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, it entertained us on two different levels.
Exactly.
You know?
That's kind of like I don't like The Room, and I don't like the ironic culture that's popped up around it. I don't get it that much, but I sort of do. But where it comes off the rails for me is, and I just watched The Disaster Artist, dude, where Tommy Wiseau clearly made a horrible movie because he didn't know what he was doing, and that's fine. But like now, after it came out, and it's like got this cult thing, like he's trying to act as if he was trying to make this absurd comedy. And he's doing press like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted it to look like. Like, no, it wasn't. You fucked up. It's fine.
I was thinking it was exactly what he wanted to look like. He just didn't know what a good movie was.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because like him and the guy that's the other guy in The Room, their new movie that he just directed just came out. It was like one of those Fathom Events screenings. It may have happened yet. It may not have, but they made another movie together. 15 years in the making. And I would be curious to see how piece of shit that is.
How purposely bad they made it.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, you can't openly mock yourself. Like, you can't parody yourself.
No, it's never worked. if you need to see examples of parodying yourself, go ahead and check out Anchorman 2.
Yep.
Check out most any movie that has a sequel 8 to 9 years after the movie is made.
Yeah.
And where they just reference back constantly, and it's awful.
Beautiful example. The original Death Wish with Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Gritty crime movie about a man driven to take justice in his own hands. 8 years later, and it was, who put that out? I think it's Paramount or somebody. It was a real fucking studio. 8 years later, the good people at Cannon Films, who you may also remember from Masters of the Universe, everything Chuck Norris was in back in the day.
Missing in Action.
Yeah. Ninja, the whole Ninja series.
Yes.
If you like a ninja movie, they're happy to help.
Yeah, and it's easy to just Google Ninja movie, and Ninja will pop right up.
Yes. They got a hold of the rights, and I guess Charles Bronson needed the money. So, you get your Death Wish 2 through 5, where it just becomes, again, it's a parody of itself. He's not, something bad always befalls him at the beginning, and then he gets a rocket launcher and settles it, I guess, maybe, possibly. Then that's not... It's funny. It's fun. If you're into that kind of thing, but it doesn't feel like the first movie in the slightest. It's name only.
No. I think you lose so much momentum whenever you wait that long. And certain movies, I don't believe need a sequel.
No.
Some movies are just good and then they're done. They could honestly, and as much as it would break my heart if there's an alternate timeline where they stopped at the first Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah,
it would
it'd
break
been fine.
Yeah, it would have been fine, and everybody would be just like, well, didn't you see the kid jump out? Be like, no, Alice was just having a hallucination because she went through a very traumatic experience. And then,
I think a lot of the horror franchises from the 80s, if they had stopped when they'd reached their creative peak, it would have been very early, but they wouldn't have made nearly as much money.
Absolutely,
ridiculous amounts of money. So I understand it.
Imagine if Nightmare on Elm Street would have stopped whenever they reached their creative peak.
So if they had stopped at 3,
yeah. Well, I mean,
you make the argument for if they had just made 1 and 3.
Yeah,
because you really can just cut the fucking bruise of the banana out at number 2,
and it's still a tasty banana.
Yeah, because that's the only one. The first one where it feels weird. They didn't have any influence or input from Wes Craven. For the second one, they just immediately rushed into production on it.
They just made a movie.
Yeah,
which is a hell of a movie, by the way. Folks.
Oh, it's a fucking phenomenal movie.
Yeah. I don't want to give anything away, but it has been called before one of the gayest movies of all time.
It's wow. Ooh, buddy. I don't even want to call it subtext. It's very overtext.
Yeah, and I watched it as a kid, and I didn't get it.
Me neither.
I was just that's just kind of scary.
Yeah.
I guess I better not go to sleep. And then I watched it again as an adult a few years ago. And like I said, I haven't watched it since I was maybe 10.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it, and I just went, holy fucking smokes.
Yeah. Like when the gym teacher meets the boy in a leather bar and then takes...
bar.
Yeah. The fact that there is a leather bar.
The Town That Dreaded Sundown is such a good movie that we're talking about.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Yes. If that tells you how great this cinematic adventure we just took was.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm not against it. I mean, I was slightly against Hellraiser 2. I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah. Well, that's because
Brain Scan,
the Lord.
Yeah, mainly because of my love of the Lord and all things.
Yeah.
The second one that we watched that I was just like, okay, this is kind of bad, was my idea when I said, hey, let's watch old Edward Furlong and Brain Scan. Invited a good friend over, and then we all just went, boy.
Why are we doing this? I'd also go so to say is when we watched, just because we're recapping. Actually, I think this might be the last episode of the season.
Oh, wow.
I'll have to go check the math. We might have one more.
The season of sequels is drawing to a close, ladies and gentlemen.
By not doing sequels.
Fuck
that noise.
Yeah.
Fuck, we have bad ideas sometimes.
Sometimes we do. Yeah. Sometimes we
They're not all great, guys.
No.
Not unlike when we invited Burger over to watch A Night of the Lepus.
Night of the Lepus was a hard one to get through, too.
Yeah. Some of these movies, they're party movies, in that you'll watch them at a party or watch them with some people, and then you don't want to talk about them later.
I feel like this has to be the final episode because we're reminiscing on the whole last season.
Aw.
This has to be it.
Fuck. All right, well, shit. It's getting to be about that time, actually. Do we even want to do Fuck, Marry, Machete?
I mean, who can we fuck, marry, machete in this? Because everybody was
Dawn Wells, TV's Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, I guess she's the only woman in this movie that I think did not get murdered.
Yeah, and they
Or at
try
least
their
beat to
damnedest.
death.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shoots her in the face. He shoots. Yeah, we even left out that part.
Yeah.
There's Mary Ann.
They shoot Mary Ann in the face.
Mary Ann from
Afterthought.
Yeah, it's a complete afterthought. She goes to use an old-timey phone, and he... By the way, this is one of my favorite scenes of the film.
Yeah.
So the Phantom Killer comes up to the screen door to Mary Ann's house.
Yeah.
After he uses a silencer, which... Was that a thing back then?
I'm sure there was something.
Possibly. And he goes to the window, shoots her husband a couple times in the head, eliminates the threat of a big manly man.
Yeah.
Goes to the screen where she sees him. And instead of him being like, Jason or anything, walking through the door or very Michael Myers-esque, like almost like robotically tearing something up, he just flips out in a rage.
Yeah.
He just starts wailing on this screen door till it fucking just rips up.
He just kind of like starts. He's hitting it with the gun.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's
That's what struck me is like he takes out this screen door, and it's like a proper screen. Like, I mean, it's just very thin mesh.
There's not very many props in this movie, is what I'm trying to say.
And he gets through the door, and then he takes a step and then shoots her. It's like, just shoot her through the door.
Yeah, maybe he thought the screen would just kind of like, I mean, he already has a flour sack on his head with the eye holes cut out. So maybe it was just like, God damn it, I can't see for the screen.
And that makes me question.
I'm a big fan of Mary Ann, or actually, I'm a huger fan of Ginger, and I just got to end this.
I would question how much of... I'm sure, and this sounds like it would be work, and I'm not going to do it, but like the Phantom Killer, the actual Phantom Killer case, if he actually wore a fucking mask like that.
Yeah.
Because he does a lot of shooting, and that's got to be real difficult with a fucking flour sack.
Oh, absolutely.
Famously, it was in Django. They talked about how you can't ride or shoot wearing one.
Oh, yeah, where they had the lynch mob or whatever that showed up. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
And not only that, if your plan is to just kill everybody, why even wear a mask?
Why bother? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
That's my question. It's like, what was the point?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool. It looks cool. I get it for the movie.
I think we talked about this in some of the Friday the 13th episodes, all like 12 of them that we did. Why did Jason ever wear a mask? He didn't really need to.
No, and like, I mean...
I think he was just ashamed of himself.
I think it might have been a shame thing, because like if he still comes out like all boogered up in the face and whatever, I'm still gonna be frightened.
Oh, absolutely. Even if he's just trying to like, pet me. Be like, I'm your friend. I'll be like, no, you're not.
But if he looks like George Clooney and he's still acting like Jason Voorhees, I'm gonna be frightened.
I'm gonna be frightened, but I'm gonna run away.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna run away as fast. I'm just gonna be like, come on, George.
No, I don't know. I think I'd still bolt. Like if George Clooney came out and like he's all like fucking water-headed and carrying a machete, like not visually, but like he's just like acting.
Yeah, he's
simple.
acting a little. Yeah, he's doing that squeal from the second movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but he's a good-looking dude. I mean, he probably could have. I mean, his death toll could have been so much more at that summer camp.
Just luring him in,
Just luring him in,
steely blue
just
eyes.
Yeah, maybe singing him a good song. And next thing you know, women are just like, "Geez, let's go ahead and get nude." Like,
fuck it.
Like it's in the script.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess,
It's been an interesting episode.
It's been an interesting one. Sorry, guys.
I'm not. Not at all. I don't give a fuck.
Well, if you enjoyed this, and we're not sure why, please let us know. We're available at Twitter, on the Twitter at BloodCamper, where you can get us, email us at lettersfromcampblood@gmail.com, Facebook, Letters from Camp Blood, Instagram, Letters from Camp Blood. You see the pattern.
Yes, it's all those. You can find me on any of the big social medias at the Josh from TN, and you can also find Rob over here at
Rob Haynes and pretty much everything. HAYNES, all one word. I got in early on everything. I'm even on Quora, apparently.
Quora. What the fuck is Quora?
I don't know, but I still get emails every now and again telling me somebody else added me on Quora. I don't know what it is. I think it's kind of like whatever the fucking business one is. I don't know.
Oh, is it kind of like not MySpace, but LinkedIn?
Yeah, maybe, possibly. All I know is somebody told me it was a thing. I jumped on. I got the name, and I'm very much that guy. Like I'm on Snapchat too, and it's I didn't jump fast enough on that one, but I never use it.
Yeah,
and every now and again I'll get like a message like, "Yeah, somebody added it on Snapchat," and I'm like, "That's cute."
Yeah, I don't understand Snapchat that much.
Oh, that's fine. It's fine because Kim Kardashian apparently killed it.
Oh, really?
She did this thing. I try not to waste too much of my time with the Kardashians, but apparently Snapchat was already having some financial woes and what have you. And then Kim Kardashian on Instagram said, "Does anybody even log into Snapchat anymore? Ha ha ha!" And then they lost like $1 billion worth of stock value the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just because of that?
Yeah.
That's
and
dumb
because
as shit.
millennials are fickle as fuck.
I guess so, but I'll tell you what, you can follow us on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
There's pictures.
Pictures of stuff.
Yeah, that's about all Instagram is, I guess. We should put like a video or something on there. Was it my story or something?
Yeah, do the story.
God, I feel like we're two feeble old men just be like, what's that stuff called that the kids use?
What's sassafras?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go have a phosphate. But yeah, that's where you can find us. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. If you enjoy what you're doing, please do us a huge favor. Go on the podcast app of your choice, be it Apple Podcast, be it Stitcher, and what have you. If you could give us a rating, that'd be awesome. More importantly, if you could just give us like the shortest of reviews, just like awesome or fuck you.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Apparently reviews are very important to the algorithm, and it helps us reach other people, helps other people find us when they're searching the internet for horror stuff. And yeah, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for our first 5-star review that says you guys suck or fuck you.
Yeah, I was gonna say this isn't for our ego. We're just trying to get people to listen. So if you have quarrel, that's how you let us know.
You take it up with the internet, okay, pal?
Yeah. Anyway, bye.
Ta-ta.